Early High School Auditorium, I'm Mr. Laughlin. These videos are designed to show anybody how to use our system. This one is called Sound System Basics. We would like to introduce our technician, Dylan.
Alright, so we're going to start with turning the system on and off. You've got one white button right here. If you push this rocker switch to the top when the system's off, that's going to sequence and turn your entire system on. It's the only thing you'll need to, this is the only point of which you'll have to power the system on and off. When you're ready to turn it off, you just push the rocker switch down and it'll click everything in sequence and turn everything off for you. And that's all you need to do to turn the system on and off. You won't have any other on-off switch. It'll just be this white button right here for all the power up in the booth. It's going to turn the amplifiers on, the system on, and also the mixer and the wireless mics on the other side. It'll turn everything on.
So do not touch any other power button.
You will not want to touch any other power button. This is your only system power.
Okay, how do we set up volume?
So next we'll move to setting volume, and we're going to go back over to the mixer. So there's going to be a couple points where you want to start. You're going to want to start on the mixer. Every fader has 0, which is also called unity, which is where you want to start with on your volume. So we'll start the main at unity, the input faders at unity. So say for instance we're going to be using wireless microphone 2. We've got it labeled wireless microphone 2 right here. First thing we're going to look for is input signal, and we're going to make sure that we have input signal coming from our microphone into the board. If for some reason you don't have enough input signal, you will select the channel that you're using. I'm on wireless 2, which is channel 2, and you can see I have input going right here. Say if I want any more input, I'll select channel 2, and then this white button at the very top is your input gain for every single channel depending on what you're selected on. So if I need more gain to the input channel on 2, I'll select 2, and then I'll turn this fader up or down until I have more or less level. I'm generally going to want to hit, I never want to hit where it says over, because then we're too loud. If you ever see your input signal say over, you'll need to select that channel, turn the input gain down, which on the board it says HA gain. You'll want to turn that down until it's at a good level at about -30, -18. Once you've got input signal there, you can turn the channel on and bring the fader up into the mains. So the fader for each channel is how you're going to send into the main section. So when my fader is down, I don't have anything into the mains. Fader's up, I've got some to the mains. So as long as I've got input signal here, I'm feeding this fader, which is then feeding the main fader, which feeds the mains.
Balancing the CD player and the microphones.
So in this instance, if we had a microphone going and we've got music playing from a CD, I'll want to get the CD to where I have a good amount of input volume. So I'm not getting very much yet.
Talk
And then
to,
now,
talk to the...
And then now I can bring a fader up or down to match. If my vocal is not loud enough, then I need to bring up the fader for my vocal to match the CD player volume. If for some reason I need more volume in the CD to match my vocal, all I've got to do is bring the volume up or bring the volume down. This is for the mains.
Master slider versus individual sliders.
So for the master slider, no matter what, this red slider on the very right side is the master slider, whether you're in the main mode or rather you are in setting up for mixes. You have 2 mixes on stage that you can send. They're A and B, and I will show you that in a second. You'll want to mix for the mains. Individual fader is going to feed the main fader. So if my individual fader is down, I won't have anything into the mains. And if my individual fader is up, now I'm feeding the mains. If I have my individual fader up into the channel, but I have my main fader down, I'm then not going to get anything. So you'll want to make sure you always have your main fader at 0 at Unity for start, and then you want to bring a channel fader up at 0, and that's generally the best place to start. If you're not getting enough level at 0 and at 0, we'll need a little bit more input gain to the channel, and then now we're at a good level. So if every channel is at a good level getting a similar input, you should then in theory be able to keep everything about at Unity, and it'll all be about the similar level.
When we're looking at the lights, Dylan, what should the lights look like when the sound is going through the board? Should they all be yellow or should they be red?
They should always be yellow. You should never see red. And again, the lights coming to the inputs, you don't want them to be hitting over where it would be in the yellow, because now we're distorting the channel and we don't want that. You'll always want the lights to be yellow and are hitting at about -18 to -30. That's generally a good start for every input channel.
Last question of this segment. We're setting up a drama production. How can we get everything all set up and then save it so we don't have to reset everything?
So in this we'll go into scenes. So say for instance for this production, I'm gonna have wireless microphone 1 on and turned up. And I also want wireless microphone 2 on and turned up. Additionally, I want to have some of the CD backtracked into there. So say this is my production and I'm happy with it. We've done a rehearsal and now we're ready to save this scene. What you'll see over here at the very top left is a scene memory button. Just select scene memory and it's going to show you all the scenes that you have stored that you can then come to this section to recall. So if I'm happy with that, I'm going to use these cursor arrows and I'm going to tab down to this section. I'm going to use this rotary knob to go to an open scene. So if I want to make this scene right here, this production number 7, I go to an open scene, I then tab over to store and I select enter. It's going to ask me what I want to call it. I can then go ahead and name it using the arrows and the enter button. And I'm going to call this one T1 for test 1. After I get ready to send it, I tab down to store, select enter. It asks me, do I want to store scene memory into scene 7, which is an open memory slot. I'm going to tab over to OK and select enter. Now we have a new scene. So for instance, if anyone was to come after me and turn my faders down, all I would have to do is come over to scene memory, go down to T1, and then I would want to select recall. Recall scene 7 from the memory. Yes, I do. Now if you'll notice, all my faders have gone exactly to where they were before, where I saved my scene. And same goes for input settings, input volume, EQ on all the channels and everything. So this will put you exactly where you had your production, where you saved your scene.
Dylan, our tech, is going to show us how to get back home if you get lost on the soundboard.
So on the soundboard, as you've noticed, there's a lot of different pages to tab through. It's easy to get lost. Say, for instance, I'm in a scene memory, I've selected or saved a scene, and I want to get back to the home page where I can see my EQs, my channel names, and everything else. What you'll want to do is down here, right under the screen, is a home button. You'll just want to select that button, and then now we're back home onto the main screen where you can see all of your channel information, your EQ information, and your monitor information.